Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Welcome back for another weekend edition video. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. As the cryptocurrency market has gone into hibernation, experts and analysts are producing predictions as to what's to come after this prolonged period of lull. Vinnie Lingam, the co-founder and CEO of Civic, a blockchain company that specializes in identity security, believes that we will blow another bubble even more significant than the previous one for the cryptocurrency market. He shared his views speaking at the Chain Reaction event hosted by Blockchain Entrepreneurs Club South Africa, or BEXA, in Johannesburg earlier this week. That was by a magazine called My Broadband, because why not? Lingam is a South African internet entrepreneur and the founder of Civic. His company raised over $33 million through its ICO. He said, "Do I think we'll have another bubble? Probably, because people just don't learn. No, we do not. Once it broke through $20,000, it would run to over 100K, and then we have the start of a new bubble burst cycle." He explained that he looks at the cryptocurrency market from a long-term perspective, while the bubble will be created by investor greed. I remember, for those who were here, or those who were listening to me when I said this, I said, I don't think that crypto, or rather the prices, let's say even just Bitcoin right now, that the price of Bitcoin will remain where it is for that much longer. At some point, all of the great and exceptional news that we've gotten even the last 3 weeks at some point will have an enormous effect on the price of Bitcoin. But at a certain point, we're going to have the fear of missing out people who are going to bring us to brand new heights. And this happens every single time that Bitcoin has like a bit of a spike. The first time that we ever hit $1,200 for Bitcoin, I think it hit a couple of hundred, and then people completely lost their minds at the prospect of Bitcoin going over 1,000. And we have these cycles over and over. I personally believe that at some point, when Bitcoin gets relatively close to $100,000 once again, or rather for the first time in this video, this is not financial advice. I am not a professional financial advisor, simply a guy talking into a microphone. I am going to be terrified because the moment that we hit around $100,000 per Bitcoin, my personal opinion is that the price of Bitcoin is going to snap once again and is going to fall back down. I don't think we'll fall back down as low as this. Like the last time we had a major slump, we hit a couple of $100s. So I think even when we do potentially hit 100,000, I think we would probably see around a 45,000, maybe $50,000 Bitcoin as like the bubble popping in some sort of way. But humans never learn. I don't know if you guys know that. I definitely realize that no matter what happens in history, humans never really get it together. When Bitcoin does pass by 10,000, that is expected to be the start of the engines being revved up once again. And I think a lot of people who for some reason don't think that Bitcoin will ever go back up, they're going to be pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised when it passes by 12,000 and they start dumping their money back into the market to try not to miss out on the potential gains. But it's going to have a much larger effect, especially with all the institutions and stuff that we actually now know confirmed that are actually getting into the cryptocurrency space, and more so have been praising Bitcoin and the future of Bitcoin and how high Bitcoin is going to go and all the price predictions that we're going to have. A lot of people think that the Bitcoin price of 100,000 is all but inevitable at this point, that it's definitely going to happen. People are already talking about when the next bubble is going to burst, because everyone already knows that by the time the prices are going back up, people are going to get greedy again. So be aware that we're probably eventually going to hit this number. And you may want to have a stable coin friend as a just in case. Alrighty, let's move on. Next up, so I'll read through this a tiny bit and then you'll get it. A New York judge has thrown out an investor's proposed class action lawsuit against the development team of the altcoin known as Nano. According to court documents filed on the 22nd of October, the lawsuit accused the developers of luring him to trade the coin in a platform that lost hundreds of millions of dollars worth of the cryptocurrency. Initially, the lawsuit was filed in April by an American individual. His name is Alex Brola, who reportedly brought $50,000 worth of Nano on December 10th, 2017 through Saw Miller Law Firm, because why not? The suit accused Nano's core team of violating U.S. securities laws by selling unregistered securities and negligently misrepresenting the reliability of the Italian crypto exchange BitGrail, from whom or which around 17 million Nano was stolen in February. The fact that this is still going on is going to, I mean, how do I put this in the nicest terms? Everyone, or rather, a certain amount of fraction of people have become very desperate, and they're trying desperately to make money any way that they can in the entire market. This isn't the first time, and this is not going to be the last time that someone is going to try and have a lawsuit against a cryptocurrency company. Like, this is why I said before, Bitcoin, rather Satoshi, was very intelligent in making sure if Satoshi Nakamoto was an everyday person and we knew exactly what he looked like and where he lived and what he did and the company that he created, every single time that Bitcoin crashed, we would have at least 15,000 different lawsuits against them. Every single time that coins go up, no one complains at all. But the moment that prices start going back down, there are people who think that for some reason that because a development team created a coin, that development team for some reason in the States is running an unregistered, unlicensed security, and therefore they were somehow pushed into investing into this coin, thinking, or like the other ones have said before, that they assumed that the price of the coin was going to continue going up, and therefore when they lost money, this is why I always say, I'm pretty sure a lot of you get it by now, or probably are smart enough when I say do your own research. If you feel like at some point that you have $50,000 and you want to push that into a cryptocurrency, make sure you figure out bull and bear markets and that prices don't go up forever. This is ridiculous that this even happened. I'm glad that this was thrown out, because and I can only assume that within the next couple of weeks we're going to have something like this against another cryptocurrency thing. This is why I said Satoshi was quite intelligent in not letting us know who he was, because we've also there have been so many people who've been talking about that they feel duped or lied to since the Ethereum price went down and the XRP price went down, and people didn't like that Charlie Lee sold his. I mean, whatever. That's a whole different case. Charlie Lee selling his coins, and then the Litecoin price going down, and people were talking about that EOS is a scam because they bought into EOS when the price was at an all-time high, and then the price went down during the bear market, and therefore EOS must be a scam as well. This is why people are afraid of creating things or trying to help other people, because there's always somebody who tries to take advantage and spit back in their face. And I'm glad this got thrown out, but this is definitely going to happen again. And I can only assume, I give it a couple of weeks, we're definitely going to have some other type of news like this that's going to be floating around. All right. So just to sweep over this one, I think I'm saying this correctly. Liberland, I don't think it's Liberland. I'm going to say Liberty Land, so I'm going to say Liberland. The person who runs the country, controls the country. It's this little sliver of land. I assume this green part, I can't even really tell exactly what it is. It's apparently a land that is between Croatia and Serbia that someone has called the Free Republic of Liberland. There was a bit of hype for quite some time that they were going to, first of all, apparently they were using cryptocurrencies, and there was news that they were going to use Bitcoin on their land. Apparently 205,000 people have registered to become citizens of Liberland, which apparently, not according to me, but according to documents, isn't actually even a real country. It's just some type of land that no one is actually using. People thought they were going to use Bitcoin. Apparently now the president of that land is now saying that they're going to create a brand new cryptocurrency, because of course, why wouldn't they create a new cryptocurrency called Merit, which apparently, according to this entire thing, you'll be able to have like a piece of land depending on how many merit you have, and something about voluntary taxes and something along that line. And I have my own feelings about this, as far as I personally think all the cryptocurrency that we have right now probably suffices. I feel like more, 2,000 cryptos are probably more than enough. Realistically, this is just how I personally feel about it. you could have built a smart contract platform on top of EOS or even Tron, and then made something similar to this and had given some type of benefit to a coin that we already have instead of creating your own coin. It kind of is what it is. Let's see if this is actually going to end up moving forward, if people are going to use it. I don't even know exactly what to even say anymore. I feel like personally so many of these, like if you really believe in a decentralized nature and you're trying to help the world of cryptocurrencies, me personally, if I had my own country, I can't even think of a name. I was going to say like Investoland. That sounds like the worst thing ever. I would probably just use my stretch of land and build a whole bunch of like mining platforms surrounding the entire country so that I could increase the node count for different cryptocurrencies. And I would probably just use Bitcoin and Litecoin as like my normal currencies for the country. I would use XRP for any type of like banking things if you're trying to send money cross border around the world, and maybe Ethereum and EOS if people are trying to build like contracts in order to swap things back and forth. I don't think there's a need, my personal opinion, for yet another cryptocurrency that someone else. I don't even have it in this video. There is news. Oh gosh, what was it? First, it's some rapper or something like that. Some rapper's child is creating his own cryptocurrency in his father's name. Okay. And then there's also like a whole bunch of other people who are creating their, like, this is when people talk about a bubble in the cryptocurrency space, this is exactly what it is. These are the new pets.com, simply because everyone thinks that they can create something. It's exactly like 2017 where everyone was creating or adding the name blockchain to their companies, and it did nothing. Like everyone thinks that you can just throw your name onto something or create a new crypto. You can't just create new currencies and then expect that the world is going to accept it, especially if you're part of the cryptocurrency space and you're for the, the movement in the market or whatever you kind of want to call it. Maybe just use a coin that we already have now. Maybe choose 3 or 4 of them for your country. You might get a bit more, attention. It's the same exact thing with when earlier this year we had news that two of the former Bitcoin core developers left the project, decided to make their own coin, and now we hear nothing about these coins because the crypto market has gone down, and I'm pretty sure those projects have completely imploded. Maybe you shouldn't have made a new coin. Alrighty, let's move on. So Taiwan is in the news. Taiwan plans to release drafts on ICO regulation by June 2019. Local English language daily news outlet called the Taipei Times reported on the 23rd of October. The publication quoted plans from Wellington Koo, chairman of Taiwanese finance regulator, the Financial Supervisory Commission, or the FSC, who was speaking at a meeting of the Legislative Yuan Finance Committee. Not really that important to continue to go ahead. A lot of countries have been announcing, once my personal opinion on all of this. A lot of this comes down to my personal opinion because I've realized that there's a lot of the things that are happening in the cryptocurrency industry right now, especially when it comes down to, let's say, more so regulation and what governments are going to do. I like to give my own opinion simply because I do not work for these governments, and therefore I can only say what I feel like is actually happening based on the news that I have been given and obtained and have absorbed myself. A lot of countries are waiting for the United States to give them some type of clarity. This is how I feel. And until the United States actually gives proper clarity on exactly what's happening in the cryptocurrency space, a lot of other countries are going to continue to push back their rules and their deadlines for ICOs and all these other things. All of these countries came forward in the middle August, September, October, not even October, August, September of 2017, talking about that they were going to give rules and regulations on ICOs and how ICOs would be viewed in the country. And now they're all pushing it back to June 2019 because the United States still has not given any type of rules. At this point, I don't think we had news before that the US is probably never going to give official rules on like everything. And I wonder how many other countries are going to deal with that when they don't know what to do. Like if the US doesn't tell you what to do, then what do you do with yourself? As of now, looking like 2019 for Taiwan. A couple of other countries have also come forward and said that they're going to do it around like February. One of them said February. And I think we're supposed to have news from India, maybe potentially in about 2 weeks' time. Let's see if that's gonna actually end up happening. Next up, Russian metal and mining giant Nornickel may launch a stablecoin as early as next year, local business news outlet Kommersant reported. According to Nornickel CEO Vladimir Potanin, the company intends to introduce a stablecoin backed by its metals. Although the launch is expected in 2019, the exact time frame will depend on many factors. This project, as an attempt to design a crypto asset which can provide the much desired price stability, not really that desired, in a highly volatile market, justifying the stablecoin label, Potanin said in an interview for Kommersant. He also emphasized the relation to traditional assets and real value due to a coin's peg to Nornickel's metal. On that same exact topic, we have this news. The UK government has blocked a Royal Mint plan to create a digital gold token that would trade on a cryptocurrency exchange. According to sources cited in Reuters, the British Finance Ministry refused to approve the 1,100-year-old Mint's plans to issue as much as $1 billion worth of Royal Mint Gold, or RMG tokens, which would have been backed by gold assets stored in the government's own Mint's vaults. They said, sadly, due to market conditions, this does not prove possible at this time, but we will revisit this if and when the market conditions are right. This was said by a Mint spokesperson. Initially, the Royal Mint had planned to list the tokens on a blockchain-based exchange operated by U.S. derivatives exchange CME, which also manages the largest regulated Bitcoin futures market. However, the CME backed out of the partnership just prior to the scheduled launch date last year, delaying the project and forcing the Mint to pursue a cryptocurrency exchange listing to save the venture. This was a bridge too far for the Finance Ministry, who considered such a partnership too risky for the Mint and, by extension, the government. A lot of governments, what seems to be like, it's very odd. This goes back to me talking about that. I feel like governments are trying their best to figure out a way to get into the blockchain space, but also into the cryptocurrency space. Between governments making their own stable coins and making their own cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, we now have people trying, or rather governments, trying to like create gold-backed crypto. This is, first of all, to be clear, these aren't the first cryptocurrencies that are backed by gold or going to have like some type of gold peg to them. I don't know if it's an attempt to test the waters to see exactly how this ends up working out. If you can get other, not even crypto exchanges in this point, like other stock exchanges to be able to list your coin, since maybe it's easier to be able to list it as a digital currency as opposed to listing it as like actual certificates that have been swapped around the world, even though no one's actually physically swapping paper anymore at this point. You understand what I'm saying? And it's interesting to note that they also mentioned it's the market conditions right now, and hopefully if they improve, we could possibly begin to see this. Who knows what exactly is going to happen? I have a feeling that none of this has actually been halted. I think they're just waiting for some type of hype in the market, because right now, realistically, if you end up launching this and the market is down and nobody really wants to touch your gold-backed cryptocurrency as opposed to touching Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or Stellar or Litecoin or something like that, and this kind of flounders, this also then has a negative view on the country and the Mint who actually created it. Like I said, I think everyone's trying to see what they can launch or put out into the market right now to see if there's a lot of interest behind it. I feel like we maybe already have enough stablecoins, like we got it, and I feel like we don't really need more gold-backed cryptocurrency. Like, not everything has to be a cryptocurrency, especially a gold-backed one. Like, there's no real. I'll just move on from that. I'm going to completely move on from this. Alrighty. So, this is interesting. Ran Neuner, host of the Crypto Trader Show on CNBC Africa, claims that major crypto exchange and wallet provider Coinbase is about to announce its first initial public offering, or IPO, According to a tweet last Thursday, Neuner stated that the details of Coinbase's IPO are to be released on Friday, live on the CNBC Crypto Trader Show. Hope you're paying attention to that. The host also provided statistics on Coinbase's revenue and accounts numbers in the post. This infographic show that the number of users on Coinbase has now reached 25 million, with 600,000 actively trading on the platform. For those who missed that part completely, there were no details even released by Coinbase. I think even at this point, Coinbase has not come out forward saying that they're going to be launching an IPO in any capacity. So the fact that he got this information, that he was going to be releasing the details of Coinbase's, if you've been around for about 6, 7, 8, 9 months, you know that Coinbase makes sure that they announce everything before everybody else. They make sure that they're the people who actually announce it. Rand Neuner, I don't know this guy, is also the same exact person who noted, 2 weeks ago at this point, that on a specific day that Bitcoin was going to explode in price. And a lot of people were asking me on the channel why I wasn't talking about the incoming explosion of Bitcoin's price, because Rand Neuner was talking about it. And then the very next day, the price of Bitcoin actually went down. And then everyone stopped talking about Rand Neuner predicting that prices were going to go back up in the same exact way that he's talking about that for some reason he knows that Coinbase is going to have an IPO. And even Coinbase hasn't announced this. I have watched some episodes of the CNBC Africa. I think that's exactly what it's called, like CNBC South Africa. Yeah, CNBC Africa, like the actual show. My personal opinion is that many times when I've watched, it's like usually like a 60-minute segment of him. It's usually him hopping through like different offices in different countries and him talking to different people about different projects. If you pay close attention, what I've seen is that he's typically just like boasting about tons of coins that you've never heard of, that he wants you to have heard of, and that he wants you to probably put your money in. Once again, that's my own personal opinion about the entire situation. Like I said, I watched a couple of them trying to get like a different perspective of potentially of what's happening in Africa or other parts of the world when it comes to cryptocurrencies. A lot of the times, it's just him talking about it's like a really weird like pump and pump show, like not even like a pump and dump. It's more like it's just constantly talking about like this project is going to do this and this project is coming from this place and this project is definitely going to probably be the next one of this one. And then you look back at his videos like 6 months later and none of that has actually happened. Once again, that was all my own opinion. Just gonna throw that out there. I mean, it's totally plausible that Coinbase is probably going to try and go public. We have news that Bitmain is probably going to also go public, but you can't really hype up stuff like that unless you have like actual some type of news that is actually going to happen. I can only assume if we don't get news this week that Coinbase is launching their IPO, one can only assume that they won't probably announce this until 2019 or until the markets are very back up and healthy again so that they can actually get proper funding in order to be able to launch their stock on the, I can only assume, the New York Stock Exchange. Alrighty, let's move on. So, here we go. Andreas Antonopoulos, a well-known Bitcoin influencer and the author of Mastering Bitcoin, spoke about the Bitcoin's use cases and the current hindrances in its adoption during a Q&A session. The author was questioned on whether he knew any particular case where Bitcoin is helping out, like M-Pesa, a mobile phone-based money transferring service. Antonopoulos replied, stating that he does not come across any use case as of now. However, he added that there are some use cases of Bitcoin in Venezuela, even if it is a very small percentage of the population. He said, M-Pesa in Kenya has been touted as a huge success of mobile money, but do not forget that that's still very strictly controlled. It's very difficult to move money in and out of a pesa to other countries, and from what I understand, there are effectively currency controls on that too, and it's not an open system. It's a completely controlled, single provider, closed system, and you still need to have an account with a central organization, end quote. Antonopoulos further stated that Bitcoin is not ready to help out, as it still lacks scalability for widespread adoption. He stated that there is a lack of ability to make micropayments with low transaction fees that allow people living on $1 to $2 a day to use the system. He also said that there has to be an easy-to-use technology which can be implemented in the most basic smartphones in a secure manner. with ease of use for all. He said, Bitcoin simply isn't ready yet, but that doesn't mean we can't get there. In fact, there are many promising technologies that are gradually evolving to get us there, from hardware wallets to Lightning Network and various other technologies that will allow smaller and smaller payments for smaller fees, rapid settlement of payments, and more scalability to put millions of transactions into the blockchain. So all of these things need to be mature before we can see adoption in other countries. End quote. For a long time, I didn't really care. Not that I didn't care for Andreas Antonopoulos. I used to watch some of his stuff, and he seemed like too overly optimistic about something that kind of wasn't there. I'm glad that when he does talk about Bitcoin now, maybe it's finally getting to him as well, that he understands that Bitcoin does have hindrances, that Bitcoin is not as perfect as many other people are stating. Then once again, that's not to say that Bitcoin will not get there. Oh, another side note, the last video that I made, for some reason, people thought that me making that video was me boasting about Bitcoin Cash. I don't know where that came from, who told you that. Maybe you didn't watch the entirety of the video. The point was things that are happening within the Bitcoin community and the discussions that people are having right now within the Bitcoin community, not Bitcoin Cash. No idea where people got that from. The point is, it's still assumed at this point that we have about 2 years before the Lightning Network has really begun to stick, or more people have begun to integrate it and or use it or open up nodes and stuff like that. At the moment, nothing is perfect. I know everyone wishes that we were not in 1994 with crypto and that we were in 2026. But everything does take time. But this is also part of the reason why I still think sometimes I'm like, Bitcoin is probably definitely going to be around for a very long time, but there's so many other coins right now, if they say the right things and make the right moves, especially if you are able to transact probably more than 5,000 transactions per second, and you have very low fees. Like one of the main problems right now is that people, the main discussion is that we need something, the constant answer, or rather the constant thing is that we need to be able to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin or some type of cryptocurrency. There are a lot of other cryptocurrencies that you can already definitely do that, especially ones that have free transactions. And there are a lot of people who are barely living like on any money per day. And if they can have a system that's available on their phone that they can, live their life, especially with free transactions, that coin is probably going to make it. I think there are a couple of coins that could definitely do this even right now. But I think a lot of the cryptocurrency projects are focusing more on trying to get adopted in the West, or trying to make sure that they get big money to flow into it without, rather, they're not realizing the impact that they could have as a coin or cryptocurrency right now on a lot of smaller countries. It's the same exact thing like we're seeing right now, even though Dash isn't a small coin, like with Dash in South America, like the fact that that's picking up so quick is because they made sure to corner that market. Like it could have been any other coin, but people are using Dash. It could have been Zcash. It could have been Monero. It could have been Nano. It could have been many other things. It's Dash. And I feel like a lot of crypto projects aren't paying attention to like everyone's so focused on Bitcoin. It's the same thing like with the US making laws and everyone else like waiting for the US to like finally, make their laws. There are at least 5 different crypto projects right now that could completely push Bitcoin out of the way if they manage to corner the South American and the African market, if they play their cards right. Like I said, not going to name any names. It's up to those projects to figure it out themselves if they are that great and they are that worthy. But yeah, let's move on. So I'm going to squeeze through this one as well. This guy, let me see if I can figure out his name. Andrew Wong is a senior executive at International Digital Currency Markets, or IDCM, believes the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be around for the foreseeable future, as well as many of the altcoins challenging their position. His idea is that what's going to end up happening very, very soon is that the market is going to have a complete, as he says, a free-for-all, wherein it was believed by this time, maybe even by 2020 or somewhere around that time, that the crypto market would have solidified, i.e., the number one coin will always be the number one coin. The number two coin will always forever be the number two coin. When you have solidified yourself as the as that thing in the market that is just not going to move. You are making not even too much profit. Your coin is over here. You have a use case for this. Your coin is over here. He says that as the crypto market still hasn't decided who is going to do what and what is going to be this and who's going to integrate into that and how this is going to actually work, he thinks that for a long time we're actually going to see a lot of movement in the top 10 coins, like swapping each other around until each coin actually has some type of a dominant use case that can be measured and that is seen by other people on the network. And at this moment, he says when we actually do, or rather when the free-for-all is over, the coins that are going to be locked in are probably going to be the coins that are going to be there for many, many moons. But like he says, it could be some time before market-leading tokens emerge, simply because as of now, the market is pretty much more or less just speculation. Until we actually get those things flipped on and we actually get major institutions and companies and banks and lawyers and so and blah, blah, blah actually using it every single day, we are going to be speculating. But a lot of people think that we are only a couple of years away before we actually know concretely, if I can say that, which coins are going to be the winners for many, 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 many years to come. This one also can kind of be, I guess, skimmed over. Maybe, kind of. Anyway, blockchain entrepreneur and industry advisor Vinnie Lingam told Coinbase in an interview on the 21st that cryptocurrency prices will surge again, but it will take some time. Speaking with CT during the Money 2020 conference on Sunday, Lingam, also the CEO of blockchain identity startup Civic, stated that cryptocurrency markets need time to regain precious volume, arguing that the market's priorities have shifted. Now the world is waiting for utility when people will actually start the use of cryptocurrencies. Lingam also said that governments globally are poised to push back against Bitcoin as it threatens their ability to make money. I'm actually kind of shocked that more government, like what we've had so far this year at least, governments seem to be like semi-embracing cryptocurrencies, and this is why I think I've been the most confused. The simple reason that prices have gone down as governments and organizations and institutions have kind of embraced Bitcoin and said that they love it, they can't wait to use it, and they hope that the prices, or they think that the prices are going to continue going up. I expected maybe this will happen sometime along down the road. I know that even the cryptocurrency market right now, I think is, what is it like? It's less than like 0.01% or something like that of the entire money that's flowing through the entire world. So I get that crypto isn't that big, but I don't know. If we have this situation now where the major monetary forces in the world are pretty much corralling people into getting into cryptocurrencies and telling them how great that it is and the prices are going to go up, I don't see many governments fighting back against that. Like if it really is, not even really is true, like we know the Fidelity and all these other people are getting into cryptocurrencies, I don't really see a point. Maybe it's like not major governments. I don't know exactly who that could be, I guess, geared towards, but I feel like everyone or every country that we've heard from, especially like the major financial countries, quote unquote, I feel like they're not probably going to push back too hard against cryptocurrencies, especially when they end up making a lot of money from it. I don't know. Just kind of how I feel about it. My personal self, I expected a huge backlash from governments in general. All we've had is like them talking about like, I don't like ICOs, I don't like this, we don't like securities, as opposed to like, hey, maybe we should ban Bitcoin because it's probably going to destroy our monetary policies that we've been trying to build for the last 200 or 300 years. I don't know. It's all kind of weird. So North Korea is in the news, and this is probably one of the most, it's actually something out of a movie, and it's actually kind of weird. According to a new report from US-based security firm Recorded Future, they published on the 25th of October that the North Korean government has sponsored at least 2 cryptocurrency scam coins. In the report titled Shifting Patterns in Internet Using Reveal Adaptive and Innovative North Korea Ruling Elite. Why would you name it that? Recorded Future's research team Inskit Group mentions 2 alleged altcoin scams tied to North Korea. The first scam coin allegedly backed by North Korea is called Interstellar Coin and was founded by Inskit Group in June 2018. The coin has reportedly been rebranded a number of times, going by various names such as Hold, Huzu, or Stellar. The latter should not be confused with the XLM token, but they did name it Stellar. They did it to get the attention. According to the report, the Hold coin has been listed and delisted on a series of crypto exchanges, eventually defrauding investors in a scam staking scheme. The second scam coin, dubbed Marine Chain Coin, was detected in a couple of Bitcoin forums in August 2018. The coin, which supposedly enabled the tokenization of maritime vessels for multiple users and owners, was claimed to be fraudulent by the state of Ontario, Canada. A slew of users complained about loss of tens of thousands of dollars in scams on the website, which was hosted at 4 different IP addresses since its registration. Here is the actual Marine Chain thingy. In previous research, Inskit Group discovered that North Korea leaders were mining both Bitcoin and Monero, while at a limited or relatively small scale. Earlier this year, Recorded Future released a report investigating the potential ties of major cryptocurrency exchange hacks with North Korea affiliated crypto cybercrime group called Lazarus. Last week, Cointelegraph reported that Lazarus stole $500 million in cryptocurrencies since early 2017. I don't really, for those who were here for one of my other tinfoil hat videos, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. The one where it said that North Korea in the future is going to be one of the most richest countries, one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, simply because they have acquired a large amount of cryptocurrencies. Do you understand how much $500 million is in general, and especially in cryptocurrencies? Especially if one can only assume that they've been, any money that they got from these other coins, that they've probably just been swapping into Bitcoin and Monero and probably any other coin that North Korea seems fit that they like or that they love. If this continues happening, and one can only assume that is going to, the moment, I don't think people understand how much of a frenzy there's going to be in the market when the prices eventually start going back up. Like when when Bitcoin hits $20,000 again, the amount of scams, please be vigilant. And I mean this, and I already know, I can feel some people are going to get caught in the spider web. Pay attention to the channels, the crypto channels that are here right now, and pay attention to the channels that are going to re-emerge. And there's a re in front of that. When the market starts going back up, there are a lot of hype channels that have completely disappeared. But the moment Bitcoin 2x's in price, they're all going to reappear talking about how much money you can make, and doing so and so, and this is going to 10x, and this is going to so and so. That's also going to cause a lot more of these coins to start appearing. If they made that much money over the course of since 2017, and the people were losing money from scam coins already, imagine how much they're going to ramp up their operation to get people's money when people are just throwing stuff into any single coin. I remember at the beginning of this year, there were so many ICOs that were popping up, and people kept on asking me on the channel to review them, and I didn't respond back because I could tell from the website that they were completely fake. And then we even had news earlier this year that not only have 90% of ICOs either completely disappeared, or the people who were running them have run off with the money. It's something like a couple $1 billion around the world has been lost because of fraudulent ICOs. That's only going to continue happening. So I didn't even mean for this to be like a warning of the future. But there's a reason why I and many other people only pay attention to certain cryptocurrencies. These are established. We know that they are real. That's not to say that future coins coming out won't be real. But when you have stuff like this, like if the crypto industry ends up hitting multi-trillion dollars, North Korea, because of their efforts, I'll put it that way, will probably become one of the richest countries in the entire world. Because if this is the information that they were able to get, imagine what's happening even like over the counter. North Korea might be buying as much crypto as possible over the counter as possible. And yeah, let's move on from the North Korea story. Sweeping over this as well, there's a bar in London called Brewdog. Never been to it. This is not paid advertisement. It says they are in the Canary Wharf area. There are a lot of and I'm glad that this is finally happening now. A lot of smaller, what's it called? Like, not companies, like bars and pubs and stuff like that are starting to accept crypto, like, restaurants and stuff as well. I said before that the change starts with all of us. If you have a restaurant or a cafe or a bakery, whatever it might be, and you figure out that, logically it is able for you, maybe depending on which country you're in, if it's legally able for you to allow cryptocurrencies as payment, and you are part of the cryptocurrency community, why not allow it as a payment method for people? You may even draw a couple more people in. I know a lot of people in many places who try to actually live their life exclusively with cryptocurrencies as a way of showing that it's definitely possible. I can't remember the name of the other place. It was somewhere. It wasn't in London, where they also allow cryptocurrencies. I can't remember where it is, but there's like a lot of news about relatively smaller places. They're now allowing cryptocurrencies as payments. This is very good. This is how it should be. Everyone should if you are legally able to do so, should just have it as an extra payment option. It helps the community. It probably helps your pocket. Right. Let's move on. So the CEO of Dash, his name is Ryan Taylor, he said something that a lot of other people think are going to happen. What he thinks is that pretty much that obviously at some point we are going to have banks who are going to start issuing their own cryptocurrencies, simply because, when crypto prices start going back up, first of all, we've already had not discussions with banks. We've already had news from banks that they have thought about creating their own cryptocurrencies, or rather their own digital currencies. Many of them have decided against it because other countries have told them not to do so. I think Japan was one of the countries who told other countries, don't get into this. When crypto prices start completely going insane and more people start leaning towards cryptocurrencies as a payment method, i.e. not the government-backed ones, but the coins that we actually have right now, like when people are using using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies on a daily basis to be able to pay for their coins in the next 2 or 3 years, the idea is that governments will eventually start trying to push out their coins. But this has been spoken about many times before, and a lot of people think that what's going to end up happening is that people are going to decide that they don't want to use the government-backed money for a number of reasons. And this is why I said before, I think that crypto is a couple years ahead of itself. But I guess I'm glad for where it is. I didn't think we'd make it this far, this fast. But I'm hoping, and this is one of the reasons, beating this dead horse, I hope that by at least 2019, we have multiple projects that have completely updated or upgraded or put whatever type of scaling solution that they need. Because the thing that's going to push crypto to the forefront of everything is when we finally have these coins that can do 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 transactions per second, 1 million transactions per second. There'll be nothing logically that can stop these coins at that point, especially if they've already maintained a certain amount of dominance in the market thus far and have achieved popularity. I hope that they do this before governments band together and decide that they all going to release their own central bank cryptocurrencies beforehand. Because if they do this 2 or 3 years before we get the proper scaling features and stuff like that, and they coerce people into using them, then they will win. And this is why things like this are very important, because you have to get people used to the idea of cryptocurrencies if you want it to become mainstream. Crypto is not going to become mainstream when no one's doing anything about it. If you have an opportunity to advance the cryptocurrency space or tell other people about cryptocurrencies, or even if you have friends who are interested in it and you know more than you think, or rather you know more about crypto than they know, teach them, sit them down, let them know exactly what's happening with cryptocurrencies, let them understand who is accepting cryptocurrencies, where it's going, the major institutions who have gotten into it. These are one of the only ways that crypto is going to be able to advance properly. And it comes down at least part to us before central banks become almost said self-aware, as if they're like computers, before central banks decide that they want to take away a huge chunk of the cryptocurrency pie. Self-sufficient. And yeah, to end things off, on October 15th, Fidelity, the world's 4th largest asset manager with 7.2, that's incorrect. That's supposed to be a T, $trillion under assets management, launched its crypto custody arm. At the time, Fidelity CEO Abigail Johnson stated that the long-term strategy of the investment firm is to make Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market more accessible to investors. They said our goal is to make digitally native assets such as Bitcoin more accessible to investors. We expect to continue investing and experimenting over the long term with ways to make this emerging asset class easier for our clients to understand and to use. According to BKCM CEO Brian Kelly, the stamp of approval by Fidelity on cryptocurrencies as a new asset class has allowed the market to appeal to institutional investors. That includes hedge funds, pensions, and endowments. The most important part is somewhere around here. Changpeng Zhao, who is the CEO of Binance, stated that institutional money will enter crypto and that it's simply a matter of time. He said, what happens when a fund like Fidelity allocates a mere 5% of their portfolio into cryptocurrencies? Have you calculated how much that is? 5% of $7.2 trillion in assets is equivalent to around $360 billion, which is larger than the entire valuation of the cryptocurrency market. Once again, this is why I'm confused why the crypto market hasn't moved. It's going to move eventually. But people are downplaying exactly how big the institutions. If we had news like this in 2015, early 2017, that Fidelity was getting into the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin would have hit $38,000 overnight. The idea and the prospect of major asset firms getting into cryptocurrencies is probably, it depends on how pure you want cryptocurrencies to actually be. I'm myself completely expecting the cryptocurrency market to reach multiple trillions. I don't know if it's going to happen in 2019 or when exactly it's going to happen, but the fact that we have these major players now into the space, especially when we had, who was it, Yale or Harvard, who also are getting into cryptocurrencies, when the money does start flowing, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And hopefully, as we near the end of that trading range or whatever people like to call it, hopefully it ends up happening very, very soon. All right, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you once again for watching and or listening. I do appreciate all your support more than you can possibly begin to imagine. Thank you once again, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you.